In this video, I'm going to go over a rule that has completely changed my life, and it has even changed my outlook on some certain things. This rule is the reason why I've stayed consistent, avoided burnout, and actually enjoyed the process of chasing my goals. It has also helped me to achieve more with less stress, and I think it can do the same for you guys. So if you guys are serious about wanting to make a positive change in your life, then I suggest you guys stick around to the end of the video because you won't want to miss a single thing. Okay, so what exactly is this rule? It is the 80-20 rule. I'm sure you guys have all heard of it, but this rule is honestly life-changing if you actually just implement it. For those of you who don't know what it is, the 80-20 rule is where you spend 80% of your time doing good habits and 20% of your time doing poor habits. And you can even break it down into smaller aspects of your life. It doesn't just need to be 80% good habits and 20% bad. It can also be let's just say eating, for example. 80% of the time you want to be eating clean, whole foods. And then 20% you can have a little donut here and there, you know what I mean? Obviously though, there are still some barriers and some ground rules for this. You don't want to be using your 20% to eat something like McDonald's or KFC, because obviously that's just 10 times worse than a donut. I mean, maybe they're similar, but in my opinion, it's 10 times worse than a donut. So just completely avoid all those ultra processed fast food chains. But this can be a whole other video. We can get into healthy eating habits. We can get into a bunch of this. So yeah, it's the 80-20 rule. And I think this is just perfect. I think everyone should have this in their life. And a lot of you might be thinking, if you're truly trying to change your life, why are you saving 20% of your time to do bad habits? And my answer to that is we can't always 100% be locked in, fully focused all the time. We are not robots. We make mistakes and we need rest, we need fun, we need to socialize. We can't just be locked in 24/7. And I've tried that. It doesn't work. And honestly, if you're trying to just do 100% and just avoid everything else, you'll just end up, you might be fine for the first couple weeks, but then after that, you'll just be 50-50. You'll be 50% good habits, 50% bad habits without you even realizing it. So the 80-20 rule just keeps you accountable. It keeps you thinking, can I afford to do this? Can I afford to scroll right now first thing in the morning? That's already my 20% used up. Or do I want to save it for later on when I'm going out with my friends tonight? So it keeps you accountable and it offers a lot of flexibility. Because if you were fully 100% locked in, you probably would have said no to hanging out with your friends. And when the time comes, you would just be completely burnt out and you would just find yourself doing little to no work at all anyways. So it's good to have that 20% so you can go out and enjoy some time with your friends, take your mind off work for a little while, recharge, and then everything will be back tomorrow. And also, just to sum up why we can't do 100%, it's because this rule it's not meant to be perfect. Its sole purpose is to keep you consistent on a long enough time frame. So yes, you might be locked in 100% of the time for maybe a month, and then that's it. And by using the 80-20 rule, it avoids burnout, and it keeps you nice and fulfilled. Because personally, I don't know about you guys, but let's say I just spend 2 hours scrolling TikTok, I will feel so guilty after scrolling, but the 80-20 rule kind of removes that guilt kind of. Of course, if I spend 4 hours, more than 20%, then obviously I feel the guilt. But if I only spend 2 hours, that's 20% of me consuming, and then I just get right back into the 80% of me creating. That is there's just no guilt there, because I know that I can afford this, I can take this 20% buffer, I'm just going to enjoy myself right now, I need a break. And then I'll just get back into my 80%. It's so perfect. So let's break this down further, because obviously, like I said before, you can break this down into other aspects of your life. So I already mentioned eating, so 80% clean foods and 20%, your snacks, your cravings. A few others that I consider a lot is, so work or learning, or you could call it consuming and creating. You want to be creating 80% of the time, or working 80% of the time, and consuming 20% of the time, or chilling out for the other 20%. And you could break this down into self-improvement. 80% you want to be just doing pure raw action, like meditating or going to the gym, and 20% consuming information on how to improve your life. Another great example is with your money management. You want to invest 80% of your money, and then with the rest, go ahead and buy V-Bucks or whatever it is that you want, you know what I mean? Now obviously you're not going to have 80% of your money to invest. I'm talking about what's left over after you get all your needs. So that's the way I look at it. And there's also you can break it down into many other aspects of your life. I'm just trying to think. I can't really think of any more at the top of my head. But yeah, that's what it looks like in like your day-to-day life. Okay, so how exactly do you start to use it? Because it can get a bit confusing, but just start by picking one area of your life and just start today. I think the easiest one out of them all is eating. So you want to just keep track of what you're eating. You want 80% of it to be clean, whole foods, and then 20% of, you know, your snacks and whatever. But for you guys, it can be anything. So just right now, just write down what is your 80%. Even feel free to drop it down in the comments because I'd love to see what you guys are working on. Okay, next, you need to also do something with a thought. Like, you can't just mindlessly pick up your phone and just start scrolling. You need to actually say, okay, I'm gonna pick up my phone, I deserve a break, I'm gonna just scroll for an hour. That is fine. But what's not fine is when you're just mindlessly doing it. You need to always just be aware, like, can I afford to do this right now? Can I afford to eat this cookie right now? I had chocolate in the afternoon. Okay, I guess I can because I'm not gonna eat anything else for the rest of the day. And apart from that chocolate that I had, everything else was just completely clean foods. Then sure, you can eat the cookie. So you need to always just keep your actions in mind. And yeah, now let's talk about what the 20% should not become. The 20% buffer is not an excuse for you to just go off the rails. You know, maybe for some people, 20% they want to do hard drugs, and then the other 80% they want to, you know, work hard or whatever. Now, that's obviously not going to work, especially with like alcohol as well. Obviously, if you can zoom out and break it down the year, maybe like once a while, you know, you go out with your mates, sure. Obviously don't do drugs, but drinking is fine, I guess, every now and then. Like, if you're just doing it 20% of the whole year, that's fine. But if you're drinking 20% of your time, of like just the week, or even the day, that's what it should not become. Another thing, don't let the 20% become 50%. This does take a bit of time to get used to, and obviously you won't be like tracking everything, so you won't really be fully aware of how you're using your time. And especially if you're scrolling, you could find yourself scrolling for 4 hours and it'll feel like 2 minutes. So you just need to try very hard to be self-aware and like really self-analyze what you're doing, how long you've spent doing this thing. You know, do you deserve to have a treat? Do you deserve to have a break? You just need to always be self-analyzing, and it's hard at first, but this is how you truly master this skill. And the last thing, obviously you need to use it wisely. Don't start your day with the 20%. You want to use it to recharge or maybe to reward yourself. That way you can enjoy it without feeling guilt or without losing any discipline or any momentum. So yeah, just use it wisely and you're good. The 80-20 rule gives you guys balance and freedom. And I think this is what everyone should implement in their lives, because not everyone is perfect. And we all need that 20% of our lives to just enjoy ourselves. So it's not about being perfect. It is mostly about being consistent. So yeah, this rule has completely changed my life and it has saved me from burnout multiple times. But that's all from me. If you guys found this video helpful, make sure to chuck a like and subscribe. I post videos like these every single week in hopes to change people's lives. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.